Welcome back, everybody. We are just about ready to get into the grand finals of the World of Warcraft Arena Americas Regionals. That was an incredible match, that third and fourth place match. That was so close, down to the wire, down to that game 5. Incredibly well played from both teams.
Yeah, both teams obviously really wanted to make it to BlizzCon, and they both showed it. That was one of the best series of the tournament, and I'm really looking forward to this next game.
Yeah, and we do have a final look at the bracket to see throughout today. We do have our 3 top teams making it to BlizzCon already. This is going to be the grand final match between Tempo Storm and Juveniles. They're battling for $30,000. That's nothing to laugh at.
Yeah, $50,000 for first place, $20,000 for second place. That's a big difference. Of course, both teams have already qualified for BlizzCon. They're both going already, but you still want that extra $30K. You still want to be able to get all of that money, that full $50,000.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think both of these teams are pretty happy with already coming out here and getting their golden tickets, so to speak, to BlizzCon.
Yeah, and we'd like to give a special thanks to Vadrak, the creator of this spectator client that we've all been able to enjoy today and throughout the past year. If he didn't make this, it would be so much more challenging to host online tournaments. So thank you to Vadrak. Lore, I think we're going to take a look at the rules.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and take one final look at the rules as we are about to get into this grand finals match here. Of course, just to bring everybody up to speed, we are allowing a 4-player roster in the 3v3 arena circuit this year. Just allows for a little bit of extra comp diversity, lets you swap people in and out to make sure that you've got as many different compositions available to them. Of course, one of the teams in our finals only has RMD available to them. They have 3 players and they each only play 1 class, but we may end up seeing some switching out of the other team, so we'll have to see how that goes. The first map will always be played on Nagrand Arena. It's a super well-balanced map, very, very even, doesn't really give any major comp advantages either way, so it's a great map to start off on. And both teams, they will have to declare their compositions to the admins, but not to each other, so they don't necessarily know what they're going up against before they pick their composition. After the first game, the losing team will be able to choose the map that they want to play the next series, or the next match on. They will be able to choose their map, at which point the winning team will declare what composition they'd like to play on that map. So they get a chance to say, well, the comp we played in the last match isn't really good on this map. We're going to switch it up a little bit. And then the losing team, now that they know what composition the other team is playing, they will have the opportunity to then pick their own composition and go into it with as much of an advantage as they can get, which has really done a lot in this series, I think, in this entire tournament, to really mix up the type of gameplay that we're seeing and allowing these teams to sort of flex their muscle in more than one way.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen it in multiple of these matchups today. Teams coming out with different compositions and really showing that they're more than like a one-trick pony. But taking a look at the prize pool breakdown for this tournament, first place, obviously, walking away with that $50,000, and that's what these next 2 teams are playing for, a difference in $30,000, which is a lot. But even going away second place, making that $20,000, and once again, each and every one of these teams that came here this weekend is going to earn some money.
Yeah, even just in that last series, that third and fourth place match, obviously Follow Esports, the victor of that series, they're going to get that $10,000 and that ticket to BlizzCon. But Luminosity still walks away with $8,000. There's 4 players on that team, so that's $2,000 each. That's still no small amount of money to walk away with for a weekend of playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys all want to join in with us, you can follow us on @Warcraft for Twitter, /Warcraft for YouTube, /Warcraft for Twitch, and /Warcraft for Facebook. Make sure you take the opportunity to include #WoW Esports if you want to be a part of this with us. This is going to be the grand finals. This is it for first place. Who is the best team in North America? And on top of that, you're going to want to take advantage of this code at a potential discount for 10% off on everything from the Blizzard Gear Store. That code is WOW, RTB15.
Yeah, this is basically your last chance to take use of that, because that code is no longer active once this event has finished. So if you want to take advantage of that 10% discount, now's the time to do it.
Absolutely. So looking at these 2 teams, talking about them a little bit, both of them sort of dominated their groups, making it all the way to the grand finals. And now, finally, we're going to have sort of a mirror. We've seen RMD sort of dominate this entire competition, and now we're going to see which one of these RMDs is the best.
Yeah, and let's jump into an interview with one of those teams. Let's see how they think this is going to go.
That, of course, is Team Juveniles. Hungry to get to BlizzCon. Well, that hunger has been sated. They've already qualified. They will be making it over to BlizzCon. Of course, what some might have called a disadvantage in this competition, in that they only had RMD available to them as their comp, but they've played it so incredibly well. And of course, they will be going up against another excellent team here for these grand finals, Tempo Storm. Let's go ahead and take a look at what they think about this as well.
All of us have been good friends for quite a while now, maybe 3 or 4 years now.
Really good synergy.
The reason we're definitely feeling really good right now for our team is because we have probably 2 or 3 of the strongest comps that we believe that are in the game right now. We have Rogue Mage Druid. We also have God comp, which is Shadow Priest. We're definitely one of the best teams and the favorites with that. Juveniles is probably one of the best multi-clashers in the game. At least in North America, I'd probably say he's probably one of the best multi-clashers right now at the moment, because he has the ability to play his Shaman, he could play a Shadow Priest, he could also play a Rogue. We don't really need him on his Rogue, obviously, in this team setup. As far as multi-classing goes, he's probably one of the best.
It's usually my fault if we lose or win, so.
Yeah, and despite Tempo Storm having those 4 members available for them, they have just been running with that RMD exclusively through this tournament, similarly to Juveniles. I mean, they do have Elite, an amazing, amazing Paladin, but he just hasn't had to play in these games. These guys are very confident with their RMD, and they know exactly what they need to do to win.
Yeah, definitely. They're sticking to their guns, which means that this is going to be a Rogue Mage Druid mirror. Tempo Storm have proven themselves to be quite reckless, aggressive, definitely the party animal team here, and they're going to be facing their opponents, Juveniles, which are much more conservative. A team effort is what they give, and they are consistent throughout.
Yeah, Juveniles have been so consistent. It's been actually just amazing. Like RMD, I've said this before, but RMD, obviously it has a lot of CC available to it, and that's what makes it so potent as a composition. But with all that CC, you still have to execute it flawlessly. You still have to chain everything together perfectly. You can't overlap it too much, or else it loses everything that makes it so good. And both of these teams have just been flawless at executing all of that. So now that we're heading into a mirror match here between 2 RMD comps, it's going to be really exciting to see which of these 2 is better at RMD, which is the better team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Juveniles, like we were saying, a little bit more of a conservative team. They've been on point with their crowd control. They haven't really messed up anything this entire tournament. They've been looking sort of flawless. Tempo Storm having Jamili and Peekaboo and Starship. These guys have been playing together forever, and they're both known to be a little bit more recklessness of players, Peekaboo and Jamili, and we could see some really fancy stuff coming out from them in this mirror.
Yep, Juveniles is going to be looking to take advantage of that aggression and shutting down it when they see it. Obviously, Cubsy and Wealthy Man have a lot of synergy. The opposite player always able to follow up the crowd control. If Wealthy can't get the poly, Cubsy gets the clone. We can't say exactly the same for Tempo Storm. Now, while individually they are capable of getting their crowd control off, we haven't seen a lot of team effort from them so far, but they have been able to make it to the grand finals with their aggressive playstyle. Let's see how it stacks up against the Juveniles.
Yep, the gates are just about to open, and we're going to find out who's going to win this first match in our best of 5 series. Of course, this is the grand finals of the WoW Arena America's qualifiers. Whoever wins this series walks away with an extra $30,000 on top of the $20,000 they've already been guaranteed.
Yeah, Jamili immediately using that invisibility out of the gates. He's going to have a little bit of a disadvantage coming out of stealth a little early. I think he wanted to push in and try to knock them out. Doesn't look like it's going to work. Wealthy Man still just sitting back in that invisibility, just popping it now. So already Juveniles having a little bit of an advantage in this opener in terms of stealth.
Yeah, Wealthy Man getting popped out, which means there might not be a sap. They open up immediately onto Wealthy Man with that Garrote cheap shot. Jamili leading now as well, but Roasty is there to peel. Jamili trinkets out, goes for the deep. Both Druids are deep right now. Jamili's feeling the pain, down at 6%, almost getting taken out in the first seconds of this match. Now Cubsy going through the full blind, trinkets that immediately, puts the Iron Bark onto Wealthy Man. Now we see Juveniles mirroring that blind onto Starship, but Starship holding onto his trinket.
Yeah, they're actually taking a lot of damage right now, actually having to use that block so early. Now the smoke bomb comes out. Jamili could be in some trouble here. Starship caught into a full sheep. Jamili does get the... actually, Starship got broken out of that sheep somehow. I'm not sure what happened there, but he does get the Ironbark off onto Jamili. So Jamili should be fine for now, but they're going to follow it up with the offensive Cyclone, stick him into that, not allow Starship the opportunity to heal him back up until this bash can come off, and they're just going hard onto Jamili. In the meantime, however, Wealthy Man is taking a lot of damage from Peekaboo over here. Peekaboo now walking over here, throwing the cheap shot out and going right back onto him, but Jamili is still in so much trouble.
Yeah, down to 20% HP, that second block coming off. Starship and Jamili overlapping that ice block and Trinket in the opener, really biting him in the butt right now. It looks like Juveniles is completely dominating this matchup. Cubsy has no Trinket, but Wealthy Man still has both of his ice blocks available. They are up 2 ice blocks to none right now. Team Temple Storm has to do something. They have to make some sort of play to get back in this game, because right now they are far behind.
Yeah, and Tempo Storm are known for reckless plays. Are they going to do it is the question. We see the deep freeze on a Cubsy, but Jamili can't follow it up. Cubsy's going to get out of that deep, get some hots rolling onto Wealthy Man and keep them very healthy as we see the smoke bomb dance onto Jamili. This is a dog pile of crowd control at the moment. Starship is cloned up. I think this could be the game of the first round. Down at 40%. They need to connect. They follow up the CC, and Jamili is down. In Tempo Storm are going to be losing game number 1. Juveniles taking a 1-0 lead, convincingly and commandingly.
Wow, these guys have looked so good in every single match, and this is exactly why. They're just so good at executing on every single thing perfectly in this RMD and just being able to link everything together in such a way that it's honestly, it's just sort of awe-inspiring how well they're actually able to link everything together like that, and that's what we saw right there in that match. That's what we saw, at least. Let's go over to Bajira at the analyst station and see what he saw.
What a way to open the grand finals. We've seen Juveniles playing crisp, we've seen them playing clean this entire tournament, and they absolutely dominated Tempo Storm in that first match. And for the viewers at home, I know these RMD matches can be absolutely action-packed, extremely fast-paced, so one of the things you want to look out for is how well these teams cross CC. Obviously, you want to put the enemy team's healer in crowd control effects. However, one of the things that Juveniles have been doing so well this entire tournament is making sure to layer CC on the other members of the team so that they can make their damage and control stick the most. Another thing that we've seen Cubsy doing this entire tournament, one of those things that set up the kill so beautifully, was actually freezing Jamili's health with a Cyclone until his team had more follow-up CC for Starship, and that's exactly what we saw there. Froze the health. Once the cooldowns and once the CC DRs rolled around again, he put Starship into 2 clones back-to-back with no ice blocks left for Jamili. That was the end of the game. So keep an eye on those cross CCs. Keep an eye on how well Juveniles is controlling this matchup, because they are definitely out to win this whole tournament. Back to the casters.
Thanks a lot, Bajir, for that analysis. And we saw that game, like we were saying, Team Juveniles dominated that match from start to finish. Wealthy Man did an excellent job shutting down Jamili CC. He even used his deep freeze at one point just to stop the deep sheep. They know they had momentum in their favor, and they just wanted to keep rolling with it. And as long as Cubsy's not in CC and he's throwing out those offensive clones, they're just going to stay ahead. And we need to see Jamili and Starship not overlap that Trinket in the block right in the opener, because that's what set them so far behind.
But you can see the teamwork for Juveniles. Like you said, they used that deep freeze to stop the poly. Having realized that, Roasty responded, used the smoke bomb to stop heals, and Cubsy, the MVP at the end of the game, timing every clone perfectly, not leaving a single gap in between for Starship to respond. But we have no composition changes. We're going to be jumping into Ruins of Lordaeron. Juveniles are 1 game up over Tempo Storm, and they look good.
Yeah, Tempo Storm has actually chosen Ruins of Lordaeron as their follow-up match here in the second game. And I always find the map choices so interesting in mirror matches, because it's not necessarily one that you feel that your comp is going to have an advantage on. It's just the map that you yourself feel more comfortable on. You say, okay, we can beat them on Ruins of Lordaeron. We like Ruins of Lordaeron. We're good at dealing with the way that things can work out on Ruins of Lordaeron. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these teams can match up against each other here, and if that comfort level is really what Tempo Storm needs here.
Right away, Jamili getting popped out of South, Wealthy Man, and Jamili just exchanging those frostbolts. Roasty's going to open up onto Jamili right away, already down to 15%. The Ironbark coming out from Starship. There's a pre-Ironbark on Wealthy Man as well from Cubsy, denying a lot of that incoming damage. Starship in that deep freeze, no follow-up CC on him, but the offensive clone coming out onto Jamili, denying those heals. The blind comes out from Peekaboo onto Cubsy, as well as Roasty blinding Starship. Jamili down to 15% or 50% HP right now. He does have both blocks available. Starship, he caught into that full polymorph. He does have Trinket if he needs it, but Jamili's in a little bit of trouble right now.
Yeah, we see that Cubsy always trinkets that blind. He doesn't let his team fall behind, but Starship tries to hold on to his Trinket. Jamili has to block as a result, and Juveniles take a commanding lead here from the Shadow Dancer. They might even be making a swap onto Peekaboo. Cubsy there with the clone follow, but he does get deep frozen. Jamili tries to land the poly, but he gets locked out on it. Great kick by Roasties. Kidney shot on Wealthy Man, easily blinks out of that. Smoke bomb gets dropped by Peekaboo, trying to make an ice block force out from Wealthy Man here down to half, but he's not going to be able to do it. Jamili going for another poly, just not able to get it. Cubsy dodging it, shapeshifting in and out.
Yeah, I do like how the way that worked out early on. Whoa, excuse me, as I say that, Jamili just gets annihilated.
And down goes Jamili, headshot, that'll do it. Wealthy Man and Roasty's just smoking him there.
Yeah, wow, he had his ice block up, he just was not expecting that damage, and down he goes, that's all there is.
Yep, clear headshot, and Juveniles are one win away from a $30,000 difference. They want to make that 50 grand, but we're going to be jumping over to Bajira.
You have got to admire the way Juveniles have torn their way through this tournament. They have not dropped a game yet, and they're one match away, one win away from winning this whole tournament. They've already made their way into BlizzCon. They've already showed the high caliber player, or that the high caliber players and team that they are, and they are absolutely tearing a hole through a Tempo Storm right now. So let's take another look at this. Jamili, unfortunately, is unable to get his ice block off in time, whether that was a strategical error with his teammates or whether that was just player error. This is something that they might not have expected. They knew this team was good, but when they actually square off, this is a whole nother level for these guys. Juveniles is doing whatever they want to this team, and that's definitely not something that you see from Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm is another very, very high quality team, but they need to find some way to step it up because Juveniles is on a whole nother level. Let's see what they can do in this next match. Back to the casters.
Yeah, it actually looked like Jamili was still on hypothermia, and if he wasn't, it had literally just fallen off. Like, it would have been that second that his icon would have lit up, and he would have known at that point that he can actually activate his ice block. Either way, that was great job there by Juveniles to be able to recognize he's still on hypo. We can just kill him right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it was either the last second of hypothermia coming off or he was still on hypothermia, so he didn't have that ice block available. And I mean, once again, just a commanding presentation there by Juveniles over Tempo Storm, going up 2-0 in the finals of this tournament, just one game away from winning the entire thing.
Yeah, and at this point, you've got to think, what can Tempo Storm do? They've got a fourth player on their roster. If there was an advantage, maybe they want to take it. Maybe they don't want to reveal any secrets. I mean, they're both going to BlizzCon at this point. I mean, $30,000, I think you're going to want to try a little bit. You're not going to want to just give up and not reveal a composition swap here. So we can see Elite there maybe possibly wanting to sit in, but Cubsy, he looks relaxed, he looks calm, almost gonna fall asleep maybe with that facial expression. He's gonna have to get pumped here, but I guess they don't need it. They play so well together. They're just a solid team.
Yeah, we do have the map choice in for Tempo Storm. They're going to Tolvaron Arena, which is another one that's got those big, wide open spaces that I think that they were maybe looking for on Ruins of Lordaeron as well. And we do, obviously, Juveniles, we've said this before, they've only got the one composition that they're able to play. So that's just what they're going to stick with. They're going to stick with RMD, and it looks like it is, in fact, going to be RMD out of Tempo Storm as well. So we will be getting into this match here very, very shortly. It is just now starting up. So we are just a few seconds away from what could very well be the deciding match in the grand finals here at the WoW Americas Regionals.
That being said, I mean, Peekaboo, Jamili, and Starship are all incredible players. They're more than capable of coming back in this series. They're known as some of the best players in North America as are on their classes, so definitely not out of this tournament yet, but they're going to have to change something. Like you were saying, maybe Starship has to trinket that blind. He has to keep the momentum on his team's side.
Yeah, that's an identifiable difference between Cubsy and Starship. Cubsy always immediately trinketing that blind, not allowing any more crowd control to go through, whereas Starship playing a little bit more greedy on the side of Tempo Storm. And I have to start to think at this point, either Juveniles is just completely dominating Tempo Storm, or Tempo Storm is maybe sandbagging a little bit. They want to try and bring this back in a flashy play. Regardless, this is their last chance. They need to bring the heat.
Yep. The gates are just about to open here. We are up 2-0 for Juveniles in our grand finals here. This is a best-of-5 series. If Juveniles wins this map, then they will have won the grand finals. Both teams have already qualified for BlizzCon, but there is a prize difference of $30,000 on the line here, as first place gets 50 grand and second place will only get 20 grand. So this is going to be a very, very important match to see here, as Jamili and Wealthy Man are already just sort of duking it out over here. Rosie's coming in right away to start putting out that damage. Immediately, the Iron Bark comes out onto Jamili, with Starship recognizing that that he's about to get caught in that deep freeze.
Yeah, and Wealthy Man already having to use that first block, so Tempo Storm's coming out of the gate very strong. Starship able to get that early Iron Bark out onto Jamili. Cubsy still has his trinket available. Wealthy Man now going to be out of that ice block immediately into a Garrode. The Iron Bark comes out from Cubsy and the NS. It's going to be able to top him off. Starship once again sitting that entire blind, but this time it's going to pay off. His team is completely fine.
Yeah, and Cubsy sitting through the full blind as well, so individual decisions coming out from both Resto Druids, and they're going to get away with it, holding onto their trinkets. But Tempo Storm have a lead with one ice block up. We see Jamili going for the polymorph off the deep, but wow, Roasty at the same time is punishing Jamili for this offensive play. Down to half HP, Starship throws out that Nature Swiftness. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Jamili has to use his second ice block.
Yeah, this is a lot of very early stuff. Actually, I believe that was only his first ice block. He did have his Cold Snap available, but it was the second ice block of the game, as they have already used Wealthy Man's ice block. So that does mean that Tempo Storm is a little bit ahead in terms of ice block usage, but it does give Juveniles a little bit of an advantage because it means that that Cold Snap will be coming up sooner. Jamili, though, right now taking so much damage. He does get the Iron Bark, but Starship is caught into a deep freeze. Do they have the follow-up CC onto Starship? The Smoke Bomb comes out onto Starship, actually. He's going to just blink right out of that. Jamili getting gouged there for a second. The Cyclone comes out. He's going to ice block at the last possible second. I actually think that Cyclone saved his life.
Yeah, Roasty's actually doing an excellent job there. There was no follow-up CC onto Starship, but he threw that smoke bomb out, and they were able to keep Jamili in that bomb with a gouge, actually, into that offensive clone, and that's what actually forced his block there. So well done by Roasty's and Cubsy's, forcing the second block out of Jamili. He has nothing left. Starship, fortunately, still has his trinket available. This is the dance coming out from Roasty's, though. A lot of pressure onto Jamili. Starship not getting caught in that Ring of Frost. Peekaboo is dancing at the moment. On to Roasties. He's in a lot of trouble, down to 30% HP. He does have his trinket if he needs it. He gets the cloak off. NS coming out of Cubsy. Roasty's going to be completely fine at the moment, and they're going to be looking to go offensive after that.
Yeah, Tempo Storm mixing it up, changing targets. Nice clones out from Starship. Could be the second block, and suddenly we've got a tied ball game on ice blocks. Jamili and Wealthy Man both have nothing left. Wealthy Man, his next ice block is coming up in about 56 seconds. We see both teams playing quite passively at this point. A full bash, Poly onto Peekaboo, Deep Freeze onto Starship, but he did pre-shapeshift it. Not able to get the Ring of Frost. They've got the blind to follow it up. He's got no trinket. Jamili is completely alone as Peekaboo gets cloned up. I think he's going to go down. Juveniles might be able to take this game. Starship leaving the crowd control in the nick of time to save him with that Iron Bark NS.
Yeah, that was a last-second Iron Bark Nature Swiftness that's keeping Jamili alive, but how long can it really last? Wealthy Man, though, at the same time, having to get his own Iron Bark. Cubsy caught in that Mighty Bash. Wealthy Man could be in some trouble here. Now the clone onto Cubsy. Wealthy Man still taking so much damage. Cubsy actually caught into that Ring of Frost. He could be in a lot of trouble here. The freeze comes out, but it's not going to be enough to keep that CC chain going, and now they're turning it around once again onto Jamili. The Polymorph was out onto Starship for just a second. He's going to Displacer Beast out of there. He needs to be able to stay as far away as possible to keep his teammate alive. Jamili taking so much damage, he still does not have an ice block available. The Shadow Dance is out from Peekaboo. He's doing his best to keep as much counter control going on as possible, but are they going to be able to keep this up?
Yeah, Wealthy Man does have his ice block up now as well. Jamili's still waiting 26 seconds for his to come up. He is caught into that full kidney shot. This could be the game. Starship not really in too much CC. The Deep Freeze, though, coming out. If they can get follow-up CC onto him, Jamili could die here, but looks like he's going to survive for now. Peekaboo actually doing an excellent job denying Roasty's last Shadow Dance, actually keeping Jamili alive and his team still in the game. Wealthy Man down to 40% HP right now. Cubsy not caught in any CC, but the damage coming in from Peekaboo and Jamili is just so much. The Iron Bark going out onto Wealthy Man. He does have his ice block if he needs it. He's actually going to use it, and they overlap the ice block as well as the Iron Bark.
Yeah, but they overlapped crowd control onto Cubsy, which means they're not going to be able to chain it out. Fortunately, though, Tempo Storm are now up one ice block, which is very important in this matchup. They might be able to force it out right now. Shadow Dance comes out from Roasty. He gets gouged on it, and Peekaboo is really the defense MVP for Tempo Storm. He's been shutting down all of these crowd control chains left and right. Now the kidney shot onto Roasty with a clone onto Wealthy Man. Jamili has that Deep Freeze available when he comes out of that clone. He needs to land this Polymorph. If he's able to get it, they could end the game. Peekaboo drops the bomb. They pop the Shadow Dance. Wealthy Man is down to 30. He gets deeped on his Nature Swiftness. I don't even think they need the Polymorph. Down at 16% into the half bash. Wealthy Man is trying to stay alive. Down at 6% and barely hanging on, but it's not enough. Tempo Storm are going to bring back one game. We are now 2-1, and we now have a series, gentlemen.
We do. That was an incredible job by Tempo Storm there. I believe that Peekaboo was actually choosing to use his Shadow Dance defensively there and using it to, whenever his team was in trouble, he would pop that Shadow Dance and just start throwing out cheap shots left and right, cheap shots and garrotes, making sure that his team could survive through that burst of damage, and it worked so well for them. They may have figured out how to beat Juveniles.
Like I said, these players are amazing, and they're not just going to throw away this series to a 3-0. They're coming back, bringing it back, and like you said, we've got a series, and we've also got some expert analysis coming up from Bajira.
All right, guys, what an epic game. You know, it's awesome to see these two teams going at it, and I can't say that I'm all that mad that we get to see a few more matches from these guys, especially seeing that last game when it seemed like Tempo Storm might be getting it right, dealing Juveniles their first loss of this entire tournament, and especially when it seemed like they were on their back foot. There were 2 ice blocks in a row from Jamili there, but they were able to turn it around, and when both mages were out of ice blocks, they were playing a little bit more defensively, but once again, they were able to wind up that pressure, finally land some of that cross CC that they needed, and display that Tempo Storm is not done yet. They finally landed that beautiful CC on Cubsy there. You know, Wosty's not quite able to help his teammates the way that they usually would have been able to with all that cross CC. But that was an absolutely amazing game, and it's amazing to see these teams stepping it up as they approach, you know, the absolute final series of this America's Regional Tournament. We're going to go ahead and throw it into the next game. Super excited to see how this goes. Let's do this.
We are super excited as well, and I hope you are all watching as well. We do have a map selection. They're sticking with the same comps. They want to prove themselves in this mirror matchup. Tempo Storm are going to be facing Juveniles on Tiger's Peak.
Yeah, and this is, it's very, very important to recognize here that this is Juvenile's map choice. Because they lost that last map, even though they are up 2-1 in this series, they still get the opportunity to choose the map here. And so they've gone with Tiger's Peak if they just feel super comfortable on this place, and why not? It's a very pretty map. It looks very nice. I feel fairly comfortable here myself. It's just a map that if this is where they feel, okay, this is what our best shot is, that's where they're going to go after. So maybe Juveniles is just going to come right back here and say, okay, Tempo Storm, you proved your point. Now we're going to win this series.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be coming into this game very strong. You know, they're 1 game away from winning this entire thing. Tempo Storm not giving up, though. They want to make sure they're still in this game. I mean, this is an RMD mirror. All of these players have a lot of pride. They want to make sure they're representing themselves the best they can in this game. And the gates are going to open. We're going to have to see how this works out for this opener. Both mages going to be looking to knock out the other team, and we'll have to see if Wealthy Man or Jamili can get them out.
Yeah, we see both mages actually starting off throwing frost bolts at each other, building up their icicles. Roasty moves in, goes for the Garrote. I wonder if Peekaboo is going to peel him. He goes for a very early vanish. Ironbark comes out onto Jamili from Starship, the Nature Citrus as well. Wealthy Man down to 30%. Both mages in trouble. Wealthy Man has to be the first one to block.
Yeah, and that was the opposite of what Juveniles was going for there. They opened up very, very aggressively and got punished for it. Wealthy Man already having to trade his first ice block, and Tempo Storm looking like they're in great position right now. Wealthy Man is still in a lot of trouble. The smoke bomb comes out onto Wealthy Man. He's going to have to blink over here. He's just trying to get away from Peekaboo as much as he can. The bash does come out onto Peekaboo, which is going to slow him down, but for how long? Wealthy Man is just still trying so hard to stay alive here, as the Ring of Frost, however, does come out onto Starship, forcing the ice block out from Jamili.
Yeah, that was the trinket coming out of Cubsy on that blind Jamili in that ice block. Like you said, both mages tied up at 1 block each. Both druids have no trinket as well, so this is going to be very scary for both teams. The end of Peekaboo's Shadow Dance just ended there. Rosty's in a full clone by Starship. Great job by him throwing out that CC to try to keep his team offensive and not really take that much damage. Wealthy Man, though, down to 30% HP. A DR Ring going out onto Cubsy at the moment. He's doing the best he can, throwing out those spell steals. He does get that Ironbark, though. He's going to be fine for this setup, but that is a big cooldown that's coming out of Cubsy.
Yeah, there was an overlap with Jamili and Starship there. They both Ring of Frost and cloned Cubsy, which means he's going to have a lot of free time to try and get some momentum, but Starship trying to recover from that mistake, cloning Wealthy Man, pausing his health for now. Jamili now getting spam polished. We're going to have to see which team wants to pull the trigger.
Yep, they are getting close yet again. Any second now, they're going to be going at it once again. We're going to watch for the deep freeze, which is onto Cubsy right now. The full kidney shot going onto Wealthy Man. There's so much happening at once that I can't even get it out of my mouth properly. The sheep goes out onto Cubsy. He's going to be in a lot of trouble here if he can't get it over. But it actually looks like Wealthy Man is just not even taking damage right now. They're doing just such a great job of this counter CC over onto Tempo Storm. Even the sap going out onto Starship, keeping him, and then the Cyclone as well. Jamili into that Polymorph. They're actually actually going on to Peekaboo right now. Does he have any defensive cooldowns available? He does not have his cloak up just yet. He's going to go ahead and use his Shadow Dance, though, and try to turn it around yet again onto Wealthy Man.
That was beautifully done there by Roasties. He opened up onto Peekaboo with that smoke bomb. Starship blinked in and Ironbarked him. He actually sapped him at the same time. He got that Ironbark off, so very well played by Roasties, getting some cooldowns out of Starship. Now Jamili down to 20% HP, 8%! Almost dies without that block. Gets it off, though, in the nick of time. Now Jamili down to no blocks. Cold Snap not up for another minute. Wealthy Man has his Cold Snap up in 40 seconds in addition to another block. So right now Juveniles is ahead in this matchup. Jamili still not getting picked up by Starship. Starship does have his Trinket. Ironbark almost up as well as NS. So he might be okay, but he has to Trinket that full blind. No Trinket available. No Ice Block for Jamili. The Temple Storm is on the back foot completely, and this could be the game. The full Deep Freeze. Jamili down to 35%. The full Polymorph comes out. He has no Trinket for this. Juveniles wants to win. They are so close at this point, pushing in for the final blow, and Jamili gets that Ironbark at the nick of time from Starship. The DR Kidney coming up, but I think Jamili will survive with this Ironbark.
Yeah, but the CC is still coming. Cubsy moving forward. They want to take this game, but he gets deeped. Jamili goes for the Reckless Poly. He's going to land it. They're trying to make a turnaround onto Wealthy Man. He's caught into the cheap shot, down to half HP. Both mages in a lot of trouble. Peekaboo going for that death from above. They need to chain the CC onto Cubsy. They force the final Ice Block. Sorry, not the final Ice Block out from Wealthy Man. His Cold Snap coming up. He still has one more left. Jamili has no more blocks for 15 more seconds. He needs to stay in it for that much longer if he wants to win this game.
Yeah, Peekaboo, once again, with that defensive Shadow Dance, it just absolutely saved Jamili's life in that setup there. Peekaboo now caught into that full kidney shot, though, into the full Cyclone. Starship now in the Deep Freeze. Are they going to follow it up with another Cyclone onto him? We're going to have to see. No, there it is. It comes out just a little bit late, but it does land on him. Jamili could be in some trouble, but they're just not able to get over to him and connect onto him. Now they're finally moving in here as all of this CC has already run its course, and it gives just enough time for his Cold Snap to come off a cooldown, but that is going to be Jamili's final Ice Block for another 3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes is a long time. Thankfully, Starship does have his Trinket up in around 30 seconds, but he gets Polymorphed up again, and Jamili's out of that Ice Block. This could be very scary for him. Caught into that kidney shot, pardon me. Gets that Ironbark up. The Deep Freeze going out onto Starship. He does have Nature's Vigil up right now. His Hots are going to be a little bit empowered, but Jamili just taking so much damage from Wealthy Man and Roasties, just completely on the back foot. This might be the game. The full clone going out onto Starship. Down goes Jamili. What a beautifully played series from both teams, but Juvenile is going to take this finals 3-1.
Yeah, really well played from Juveniles overall, able to capitalize on it. I thought there might be a comeback for Tempo Storm, but the Juveniles are not going to allow it, which means they take first place. They are the #1 team in North America. Both teams, though, have their tickets to BlizzCon, and they will have an epic rematch, I would expect there.
Yeah, so that was an absolutely amazing series. Let's head over to Bajira at the analyst station and get his rundown on how that all shook out.
Holy moly, you could not ask for a better way to end this tournament. You know, huge congratulations to Juveniles for that first place, but honestly, Tempo Storm, you know, they did a great job in this tournament. You know, second place, that is nothing to sneeze at, especially because they're going to BlizzCon. They've got a big chunk of change that they can be proud of, and they put on a great show for us today. So we can break down the end of that game here. So Starship is sitting in the rest of a Polymorph there. Jamili gets the kidney shot. It's once again Starship. You know, they always have that follow-up CC for him. They've always got that cross CC, even with a defensive smoke bomb. You know, everything is going their way for Juveniles right now. They were able to break down every defense that they had, and unfortunately for our Tempo Storm team, they are going to fall there. However, we do have the Tempo Storm team joining us here very, very soon. We're going to throw it back to the casters and get our second place Grand Finals winners all set up for an interview.
Thanks so much, Pajira. Wow, that was an amazing series. What a great way to end off this weekend of just amazing WoW PvP action back and forth with Juveniles. The team that they came here, they had one composition they could play. They had 3 players, and that was it. And they still battled it through absolutely everybody. And hey, they only got to split the prize money 3 ways now.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. If we take a look and kind of break down that final series, Temple Storm was on the back foot. Juveniles sort of came out those first 2 games, dominated, but Temple Storm really stepped up their game in those last 2 matches and really showed that they can play RMD, and we know that, and we're going to see it at BlizzCon.
Yeah, Juveniles really brought it to Tempo Storm there. They felt completely in their element. It was a close call. Obviously, they lost 1 game. Tempo Storm was able to find a moment to strike, and they took advantage of it, but it seemed like Juveniles just always had the lead. We can even take a final look at the bracket to see our top 3 teams moving forward. So Juveniles are taking the #1 spot in North America, followed by Tempo Storm, and then Follow Esports in a close 3-2 series over Luminosity are going to be that 3rd team from North America, making it to the World of Warcraft Grand Championship.
Yeah, and of course that does mean they will be moving on to BlizzCon, which itself has $250,000 to battle over. So they definitely keep an eye out for these teams. We will be seeing a lot more from them in the future. But for now, we're going to head over to Bajira at the analyst station to break it down with our second place team, Tempo Storm.
All right, guys, as you just heard, I am joined by Tempo Storm, our second place grand final winners. You guys got to be pumped. You're going to BlizzCon. You guys just put on an awesome series for the viewers, and you guys have quite a bit of prize money to divide up between you guys. You must be feeling good. I do have one question. How are you guys going to take this awesome experience at the tournament and practice for BlizzCon, get another shot at winning some big money, big prizes?
I can't.
Oh, no, okay.
They're a big guy.
All right, so as far as preparing goes, yeah, we definitely have a little bit of work to do with our other comps. We're going to be practicing a lot. For example, East God comp, we playing that a lot more back at home. So that's one thing we're looking forward to.
Awesome. Well, you guys did a great job today. We have some awesome scrolls for you guys as well. Hopefully you guys enjoy these. But thank you guys for coming out for the awesome tournament we had today. You guys played great. Definitely put on a great show. And we're going to throw it back to the casters for one moment while we get to hear from our absolute grand finals winners.
Thanks again so much, Bajira, and big congratulations to Tempo Storm. They didn't come in that first place, but they still get more than a little bit of cash for their troubles, and of course that ticket to BlizzCon where maybe they can come out as the #1 victor and claim the biggest prize of all.
Yeah. Follow Esports, Tempo Storm, and Juveniles all came for basically what they wanted, getting those spots to BlizzCon. Although only one of them won, Juveniles, all three of them are going to BlizzCon, and they're going to have a chance to compete and sort of redeem themselves.
Yeah, and then another big thank you and shout out to Vadrak, the creator of this spectator client, so that we could all enjoy these games to the full extent. A big shout out to Vadrak for creating that, and we're so thankful for that. We're thankful for everything today. This was an awesome tournament to be a part of, and I'm very thankful. I'm saying it over and over. It's so awkward to fill it through, but I'm just so happy right now and so excited. We're going to be able to toss it over back to Bajira to award our grand champions their scrolls of victory.
You're darn right. We're joined by our absolute first place champions of the WoW America's Regional 3-3 Arena tournament. You guys have got to be pumped. Juveniles, how does it feel to be going to BlizzCon, with that first place out of this tournament?
It's a big let off our shoulders coming in with only 3 people. We didn't know how we would do. Maybe I was really nervous too. I thought maybe even me would choke during any of the games, and really happy that we didn't.
Well, do you want to break down those games for us? I mean, you guys were playing Crisp all tournament, only lost 1 game the whole time. I mean, that's a lot of really quality games that you should be proud of.
Yeah. I think we did a really good job at stopping their setups in the first 2 games at least. The third game was a little iffy, but we got all of our CC, and that's really what it comes down to in the mirror.
Awesome, yeah. As a viewer, obviously I'm here as an analyst, but as a viewer, those games were amazing. It was great watching you guys play. How are you going to take your success here and apply that towards BlizzCon?
Probably just keep doing the same thing, practicing. There's a lot of comps in Europe that people don't really play so much here, so we have a lot of practicing to do, especially against comps like HPL God comp.
Awesome.
To be worried about.
Well, I feel sincerely bad for the people that you guys are going to be practicing against on the ladder, RIP the ladder, but we do have some prizes for you guys, to hand out, so you guys did a great job today, put on a great show. Definitely have a lot to be proud of, and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So that's going to wrap it up for us here at the analyst desk. Thank you very much for hanging out, and once again, congrats to our winners. Back to the casters.
Thank you so much. And on behalf of everyone here at the ESL studio, put on this amazing production this weekend, on behalf of Blizzard Entertainment, all of my co-casters, and everyone else, I just want to say thanks so much for tuning in, and good night.
Good night.